All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get going. Okay, last night's session in the S&P was pretty spectacular. We had a power session in global markets building into the U.S. session, and then the U.S. really just took it and more or less finished on the highs. You can see there every single sector across the board up. Um, we we really started the rally, and this is what was interesting, and I think it really kind of gives us a very clear indicator where the market is at the moment, and just proves how much of a bull market we are actually in at the moment. The market initially spiked hard on talks that, or a headline that Putin had ordered his troops back to the barracks, when actual fact that wasn't even the troops in Ukraine, that was some of the troops in Russia. So that proved to be a non-event. When it was released that in fact that headline was a bit misleading, there was virtually no retracement whatsoever in the futures market. We managed to kind of hang on to those gains, and then it just, once it showed its hand there, it really just continued to run. So, bottom line is, very little change actually happened yesterday in Russia, and in fact, I think you can even argue that things are, as bad as that they have been at any point, with some of the the commentary and the jargon that's going on, but the market is totally shaking it off. It is as a absolute non-event, and I think that's a really significant, and it proves to you where we are right now. Like I said, we're in a huge bull market. You know, Guys are, people that are shorting, they mostly getting their faces ripped off, and it's just it's still a one-way train for the time being. All right, Asian markets up across the board outside of China. China couldn't get up, with a porn star, so this thing's just totally dead. It is underperforming every day. They did come out, the government came out overnight and announced that the growth rate that they're targeting for 2014 is 7.5%, which is definitely at least in line, if not to the upper end of what people were expecting them to come out with. I think there's a lot of doubts around them being able to continue to maneuver their economy toward more demand-driven rather than supply-driven economy, but nevertheless, the markets there continues to fail, and I think it continues to give us a insight into what's going on there. You may continue to see some heaviness in some of the base materials, like the Kumbas and that of the world. So, all right. Moving on in corporate action, we had MTN earnings out this morning. Now those numbers right there are comparable those are Bloomberg estimates that's actually out, that were out before the trading statement. So obviously a beat across the board with regards to all of those numbers that were in Bloomberg consensus. But in terms of the trading statement, it seems like it may be slightly on the lower end of the ranges that they guided. There's some bright spots and some weak spots. I think one of the weak spots is that in South Africa, they lost market share. They lost about 2% market share, I believe, in South Africa, whereas Vodacom only lost about 0.2% market share. Obviously, that market share going mostly to Cell C, but there's some negatives, there's some positives in it. So I don't know how the market's exactly going to take it this morning. We also had MMI out this morning, headline earnings per share at 106. The guidance on the most recent trading statement was 106, so that's basically bang in line. Divi per share 57 in line. So yeah, it doesn't look like there's any real surprises there, but just keep an eye on it this morning. All right, market data out today. We had China HSBC Services PMI number, which is a slight beat. We've got PMI numbers across Europe. Later today, we've also got PMI numbers in the UK. We got retail sales in Europe, GDP in Europe as well, and then we've got mortgage apps, ADP employment change, and ISM non-manufacturing in the States later. Right, let's get into the maps. First thing, what in the world is going on here? Okay. Sorry, just let me get the charts up in here real quick. Okay. Here we go. First thing we're gonna have a look at here is
No, it's down, Joe. Is it back?
is the Aussie is the Aussie spot. Oh, my chart's not loading up here, so obviously there is some sort of line issue. Chad.
It's going on and off.
Oh, here we go.
Is it working?
Okay. All right, so now we've got, you can see the Aussie here as of yesterday. You know, let's zoom forward a little bit. We're looking at the 1-year daily. Tested the same sort of levels up here, closer to 43,000, a few days running. You can see there that you can see there that we just kind of broke out as of yesterday's close. This morning we traded even a little bit higher. So you know, the Aussie obviously breaking out, very bullish, along with the S&P and everything else around the planet seems to kind of be breaking out to the upside. You got Nedbank. Nedbank also popped up to out of the top end of its recent little range from about 205 to 211. We managed to close up north of 212, so breaking out there. I would expect us to trade to recent highs rather quickly. Sanlam. If we back out a little bit here on Sanlam, you can see that that we've been last couple of days testing up against trend resistance here. Made a nice little breakout there. And I would say easily, obviously, going to test the all-time highs in the next few sessions at some point, and I would think likely even higher than that. MTN, we'll look at MTN quickly. MTN is kind of a bit of a confusing pattern, but bottom line is we've had unbelievable consolidation here between about 195, I call it 194, and 201. And you can see if we zoom in on this a little bit, 201 is the level we're going to want to look at here in terms of closing highs. We had 2 days, one here the early part of February and one here in the later part of February where we actually managed to close up there. We got above that early in the very early morning on a couple of occasions, and it just was only to fail. We're going to need to see it close above 201 to really confirm a breakout. If we get above 201 on the breakout, we're going to be looking for a target up closer to 207, 208. So keep that in mind. That's the level that we're going to be watching today in MTN. Imperial, you can see here at 170. 170, we popped up above. Finally, after the past month of consolidation between 160 and 170, we haven't had one close outside of that band for the better part of a month. We finally got above it yesterday, albeit on light volume. Definitely bullish. Be looking for maybe a 10 rand target to the upside around 180 bucks in the near term. And then the last one I'll show is Exxaro. Exxaro, had this beautiful head and shoulder pattern going, and unfortunately, probably more related to market conditions. What in the heck am I doing here? That's not what I wanted to do. Nice line. How do I get rid of this thing? There we go. Yeah, so I had this beautiful head and shoulder pattern going, and then probably more due to market conditions than anything, we get this break up through. I'm short of this one, by the way, so that's why I'm a little bit upset about it. Break up through 146 and closed above that yesterday. Even with a lot of other material stocks kind of struggling, so I would say that this thing is definitely still looking bearish overall. But it's got to hold below the shoulder line here. It's around, call it 152. And I think if it gets above that, then I think the shorts are over with. Long term, you can see here we're still very much in a downtrend. And I think that if we do fail again 152 or lower, then I would very much say that you can resume being short of this thing and probably complete back down to sort of around the 136, 137 level, which is the lows of the last couple of years. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.